Welcome to Fort Worth and to a Thursday edition of the Gold and Blue Lunch Report. I'm Allan Taylor on the grounds of TCU, and on the grounds of what the Frogs have done lately and what West Virginia hasn't done, the Mountaineers enter Thursday night's game as 14-point underdogs. That flies in the face of recent history between these two programs. 3 games, all decided on the final play by a total margin of 5 points. So let's get right to it and check out the matchups. We start with TCU's ball. We'll get to Trevon Boykin in a moment, but first, let's look at some of his toys, beginning with tailback Aaron Green, a consensus top 70 recruit in 2011. He went to Nebraska before transferring back to his home state. It has been a good move for him. Nearly a 1,000-yard rusher last year, on pace to break that mark this year. The guy can scoot, and it doesn't hurt to have a superior offensive line ahead of him. This group, it's right up there with Baylor. So much experience that 23-game starter Avante Collins is now a backup at left tackle. On the outside, receiver Josh Doxson, the FBS leader at 152 receiving yards per game. Not bad for a kid who started his career at Wyoming after receiving only 2 scholarship offers. Not the fastest guy, but at 6'3", he runs sharp routes and he catches everything thrown his way. Okay, almost everything. This tip 6 at Texas Tech was a miracle finish and one that illustrates just how much Boykin favors Doxson. Listen to West Virginia defensive coordinator Tony Gibson describe the play.
And you know, when Boykin needs a play, that's his go-to guy. You watch the play against Texas Tech where they won it at the end. They're in the empty formation. They have a guy come wide open, and Boykin, you know, is locked into 9, and he's double covered, and the ball's tipped in the air where the guy didn't throw it to that was wide open is the one that ended up catching the ball. So.
As for Boykin, he is putting up rarefied numbers. In the past 6 seasons, RG3 and Johnny Manziel were the only other quarterbacks to average 300 yards passing and 50 yards rushing per game. Both of those guys, they won a certain trophy at the end of the year, though neither won a conference title. Boykin could do both. But while Boykin has won 19 of his last 20 as a starter, by far his worst performance during that span was last year in Morgantown. He finished only 12 of 30 passing with an interception. Though when it counted late, he was on the money to Colby Listenby, a sprint champion who's also back for more football this year. No wonder the Frogs are second nationally in total offense. When West Virginia has the ball, the Mountaineers weren't up for a shootout in their last outing at Baylor, left a ton of points on the field in the first half. Tonight could be a better matchup, however. For one, Wendell Smallwood's ankle is better, thanks to the bye weekend. And against a battered TCU defense, Shelton Gibson could light it up. There's also the potential to get more out of David Sills in his second game at receiver, and a lot more out of Jovan Durant, who had 0 catches against Baylor. The 2014 TCU defense owned the fourth quarter against West Virginia, kept the game in reach for Boykin and the offense to rally. But it is a completely retooled defense this year because of graduation and a crazy run of attrition. So we bring in our ex-jock, Jeff Braun, to assess the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year you look at it, they played well up front. You look at these clips that we're showing, we couldn't block them. We couldn't put a hat on a hat. They were winning one-on-one battles, and that's what you need to be a football team to win football games. You have to be able to block a guy one-on-one and be aggressive. And I don't think we did a good job of that last year. See a little bit this year. It's younger guys. It's newer guys. Same defense they're running, but they're just not as experienced, not as talented, not as many reps under the belt yet. And they're getting beat on simple plays. You know, we still need to go in there and be able to attack.
Now, Skylar Howard has 33 rushing attempts over the past 2 games, Jeff. Some of those on design draws like the one K-State busted against TCU here.
What stands out to me the most about this is being able to, we've seen a lot of zone plays, and Kansas State does a great job of throwing a power play in. They're pulling a backside guard, and they have a wall. If you look at it right here, they have a wall. We see all the linemen's numbers right here. And the quarterback takes his time, reads it out. Great block by the running back to cut the guy down. But a lot of people don't realize, and K-State does a good job of it, and we do a good job, if you run with the quarterback, you gain an extra blocker with your running back. So they're not accounting for the quarterback at all times. You gain that extra blocker, he makes a good block, and the quarterback, if he has the speed, he's going to get out and run the play. But we have to mix it up with these guys. We have to be able to run a little bit of zone like we have been. We have to be able to come out and run power I formations, run powers, run QB draws. We mix it up, we're going to keep these DNs on edge, and it's really going to mess them up with how they're going to read. When they see power, they're supposed to squeeze down. All right, when they see the read option, they want to attack but be able to break down and see where the ball goes. It's going to mess with them a little bit.
Thank you much, Jeff. Enjoy watching the game tonight, and we'll talk again afterward.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
With that said, let's get to picking. Oklahoma, a 40-point favorite at Kansas, which is cementing its legacy as the worst team in Big 12 history. Sorry, Jayhawks. Texas visits Iowa State, where the Cyclones have a new QB and no offensive coordinator to tell them what to do. The Longhorns, they've been outscored 88-10 on the road this season, but those games were at Notre Dame and TCU. Ames, Iowa, not quite the same venue. And number 12, Oklahoma State, unbeaten, maybe a little bit underappreciated. I like the Cowboys to be a little bit tougher than Texas Tech in Lubbock. And here in Fort Worth, TCU gets a chance to pump up its playoff resume in prime time. The Frogs have won 11 straight Big 12 games. That equals the total number of Big 12 wins for West Virginia in the past 3.5 seasons. The Mountaineers should be able to run the ball effectively, but I just can't imagine them matching that TCU touchdown machine. I'm taking the Horned Frogs 48-33. Y'all be sure to check out West Virginia's highest-rated college football pregame show starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and stay with Metro News for 9 solid hours of coverage. Until then, I'm Allan Taylor for the Gold and Blue Lunch Report. We'll talk to you after the ballgame.